Hey guys, welcome to Romp Chess episode 18.1. It's been a couple weeks since I've played. I've been busy doing old man stuff, and but I did play in an over the board tournament about a week ago, and so in this episode I won't be playing a rapid game on chess.com. I'll simply be reviewing the first game that I played in this tournament. The format of the tournament was a 20-minute time control, and it was a Swiss style system of pairing opponents. And without going into a great deal of detail about what a Swiss system is, basically opponents can be paired with 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 an opponent of any rating. So currently my rating on chess.com is 585. In all honesty, I'm probably a little bit higher than that, but not a lot. And the highest rated player at this tournament was a 2100. So my first game, I ended up getting paired with an opponent who was similar to my skill level. In the second game, I ended up getting paired with the highest rated player in the tournament, who eventually went on to win a tournament. He was a 21 rated player, so I'll be analyzing all three games, but I'll do that analyzing in three separate episodes. So this will be the first installment of that review, and let's go ahead and get started with that. Um, so first thing I want to point out, when I look at the game review, and I played as white, by the way, so I started out as white. Um, and if you look at the game review here, this graph, uh, starts out, the game's fairly even as you expect throughout the opening, and all of a sudden, my opponent made a blunder here, and at this point, I'm up 3.31 on the eval bar, and then shortly thereafter, the game goes back to even, and then my opponent makes another blunder, and I go up to plus 3.24 on the eval bar, and then I fail to punish my opponent, and it's back to even, and then I gain a lead, and then I keep the lead, and then I lose the lead, and eventually the game sort of like stabilizes, and I eventually go on and win the game. But I want to take a look at this, because even though I won this game, which is a good thing, there are opportunities that I missed, and I could have easily uh, lost the game that I should have won and did win. Um, and the other thing to look at here is that I always like to look at is the accuracy. So playing as white, I had an accuracy of 68.7, which is kind of typical for me. I really like to be up in the 70s, preferably high 70s, or low 80s. Um, and if I'm in the high 70s or low 80s, playing against someone with similar skill level, I'm typically going to win that game. My opponent, Black, had an accuracy rating of 53.7. They did have two blunders, which I said I failed to take advantage of. I didn't even recognize those mistakes as blunders until later in the game or in the review. We each had one inaccuracy. I had one mistake. My opponent had three mistakes. I had three misses, which is where I failed to punish my opponent for the blunders, and my opponent had one miss. Um, Chess.com was very generous with the game rating. They they gave me a game rating of 1600. My opponent 1500. I pretty much just ignore that. there's no way I play this game as a 1600 player would play it. So I pretty much just ignore the game rating, but I still want to take a look at the takeaways of the game and share that with with my audience. So let's go ahead and dive in and get started here. So I open the game with e4, and I'll just step through this. The opponent responds with e5. My intention here is to play the Scotch, which arises from knight f3. Opponent responds with knight c6, and then I push the d pawn to d4. So now we're in the Scotch opening. Typically here you would see black take this pawn, and then I would have to decide whether to retake or develop, which is the line of the Scotch gambit. Typically I would retake here, but my opponent did not take that pawn. My opponent instead chose to attack this e pawn, which is undefended, right? So that's considered a mistake by my opponent. And the reason that's considered a mistake is it allows me, if I chose to, which I did not, to push this d pawn and put an attacker on this black knight and kick the knight away. Okay. So I didn't even recognize in the game that this pawn was hanging, and this is another weakness that I have. I'm so focused on my game plan and my development that all I'm thinking about is, okay, where do I want to make my next move to create this Scotch motif that I'm after. I didn't take time to analyze my position. And also, I would also add that when I'm playing over the board, the visually the game just doesn't have the same feel as when you're playing online. When I'm playing online, I have a bird's eye view of the board. I can look at this. I can draw arrows. I can see everything clearly. When you're playing over the board, you're looking at the board at an angle. So you really have to have a good feel for what you're doing. So the move that I made here was developing the bishop, the light square bishop to a4, and the whole purpose of this move is to target this f pawn, and again I just move this kind of mechanically. Because I know in the Scotch that's where I want that bishop. I didn't really think why I'm moving it there, or what else is going on the board. I just automatically just move the bishop. So as soon as I move the bishop in the game, I started looking at the board after the fact, and I said, oh my gosh, this pawn here is undefended. It's hanging, and I'm wondering if my opponent is going to see that. And I'm sitting there and I'm watching their facial expression, and I can tell they're a little bit hesitant about whether or not to take this pawn, and of course they did take the pawn. Stockfish is calling that move an inaccuracy. And the reason that they call that an inaccuracy is because even though they captured this free pawn that was undefended, that allows me to push here and kick this knight away. which is not at all what I did in the game. In the game, I took the pawn here, but if we go back and go over to the game analysis, in the game analysis, they're actually wanting me to take with the take back with the pawn here, right? Because if I did that, then that pawn is pushed forward and I'm defended. I'm defending here. So that's not what I did. So if I go back to review, I take with the knight instead, and my logic here is I'm advancing this piece. The knight is protected by the pawn. I'm attacking here, and the one thing that I didn't even consider was the fact that this bishop that I moved out earlier is attacking this this weak f2 pawn, and now I have a second attacker on this f2 pawn, which is only defended by the king. That didn't even dawn on me. So black plays this this bishop e7 move, and that's considered a blunder. I didn't even notice this in the game, and I'm not sure why black played this move. I can only imagine that they're preparing to castle right here, right? I'm thinking that's probably what was on their mind. But the problem is for black is I have a couple options here. I could either check with the bishop and take this pawn, because that square is also covered by my knight. Or what I should have done is I should have played this knight takes f2. Black can't take back with the king, and then I would have a fork on the queen and the rook, and I would end up taking the queen on the very next move. So that would look something like this. So I should have taken here. Black could have made, whatever move. Stockfish is suggesting bringing the bishop down here, and then I just take the queen, and black would have a very hard time of recovering from this position. So, like I said, I didn't even notice that in the game. Let's back it up here. So instead, I play this knight c3 move. Just trying to develop my pieces and attack this undefended knight here. So that's my logic. And again, that all goes back to me not really putting a lot of thought into why I was developing this bishop in the first place, which is to attack this f2 square. So very, very, very important takeaway for me there. And that's why that was a miss, because I failed to punish black's blunder. And then they castle, which is another blunder for the same reason. I still have two attackers on this square, so same thing. I could have checked, or I could have moved here and attacked the queen. But either way, this pawn is hanging right here. But I failed to see that once again. And instead, I just take the knight, which is not a horrible thing. It was just not the best. It was not the best move for me. Black attacks the black moves the bishop down to attack here, and again, this is a mistake by my opponent. What they should have done, they should have pushed this. They should have pushed this d pawn here, which is protected by the queen, and that would block this sniper bishop from attacking this f2 pawn here. So that's what black should have done. Instead, they attack my knight. Then I develop here with the dark square bishop, put a protector on here. Stockfish says that I should have just taken the bishop here. Then black checks my king. I block. They move away. I just keep trying to push this, gain tempo, and push this bishop here. That's kind of my thinking there. And then finally, black plays d5 to block here. So I no longer have this attack on the f2 pawn, this double attack. I'm still attacking with the knight, but I'm no longer attacking with the bishop. So I take here, and this is a mistake because the bishop is now unprotected, right? So this bishop is attacked by the queen. It's unprotected. So black takes. Now the queen is attacking here, which is defended twice. It's attacking here, which is defended, so black can't take there. Black can't take this pawn because it's protected by the rook. However, black could take here with a check to the king, so that's a fairly dangerous position for me. And so I move the queen over to protect here, and also to x-ray this queen, and finally, at this point, something that I'm thinking about is if black does not move this queen here, which is attacked by my queen, and if I check, then I have a revealed attack on the queen. So black puts another defender down here. They bring the light square bishop down to attack this knight, but I use the tactic of checking here. Now black has to respond to this check, so they take, and then now this queen's going to go. So I take the queen here. So at this point, I'm pretty confident I'm going to win the game because I've got the queen, even though I missed all these opportunities earlier in the game. And then so from here, my idea is, and I finally make the correct move, is to move the bishop to here. Not only attack this rook, but to cut off this escape route for the king. So now the king would only have one square to go to. Well, it has two safe squares, G8 and H8. So that is, no, actually, that's what I did. Okay, so black attacks the queen here, so now I've got to move my queen. So I just put it on a safe square. I have to get it off this D file. I couldn't move here because of the bishop, so I just moved it back to this to F3. Now then I castle. And then finally, here's the bishop move. So finally I move the bishop over here to cut off this escape route. Take then defend the bishop. And at this point it's checkmate is pretty much imminent. This was a mistake by black, because now I'm able to reroute this queen over to here for checkmate. So there's really nothing. There's nothing black can do at this point. And then there's the checkmate. So yeah, it was an interesting game for me, very much an instructional game. Glad I won. My opponent played well. They made a couple mistakes, and eventually I was able to capitalize and go on for the win. So that's the review of the Scotch game. I hope you guys enjoyed that. I'll review the other two games and 2 more episodes, and I'll be sharing those soon. All right, see you guys. Bye for now.